Hey, welcome to Watch and Waiting on the Lord. Today's December 11th, and I have a good article to read today, very interesting. A topic that, a lot of people don't want to discuss because it's hard. I decided to look more into this topic because I was listening to a sermon by Voddie Baucham. I really like him. He explains things really well. And even him, he was like having a hard time coming across this, and I'm sure everyone does. You may have your conviction about certain things, but I'll get to that in a sec. I'm going to read it. It's very interesting. It's about works that follow us. The people have problem with works, not of works, lest least any man should boast. But is there more to it, right? So we'll find out. About my last video there. I felt convicted to make that, and I wanted to. I feel maybe I was a bit hard. If anyone is a content creator, has donor stuff, this is my message about this. Okay, we're talking about God here. We're talking about eternity. There's fake stories out there. You see, I went to hell, I went to heaven, I saw Jesus, and then they come back and all of a sudden they're asking people for money. Or you go on their videos and they have even the purest of people that seem like they are and probably are on their screen. Can you imagine, like on my screen right now, if I put up, up in the top left-hand corner, Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff, doesn't that just turn you off? Because it does me. Who constitutes in the Bible a person that is worthy of his wages? That's a good question. Is it a qualified person versus someone who's just doing this because they think they're good enough? And it's not for me to decide who is good enough. And so what I wanted to say was, when it comes to the content creators and other like sites, number one, okay, I have a website. I sell things, and when I see a lot of people making justification like they're making $100,000 and more, oh, it's for upkeep of my website. What? Like it costs me. It costs me under $1,000 a year, let's say, okay, to keep up my website. So I don't understand. It cost me about $500, okay? So with content creators and okay, so donations, I don't know about both of them, okay? I'm just giving you how I feel. What it comes down, okay, so say you put a lot of time into content creation, right? And what you know and what you're interested in is God. And you're doing content creation, like if you're getting paid for that, for doing that work, who am I to judge, right? But let's just say you're making so much. Let's just say you make 80 grand a year. Would you be willing to forfeit that and just do it for God? So what are you waking up for in the morning? Are you waking up in the morning to do it for God, or are you it could be both, but what I'm cutting right to is, are you doing it for God or are you doing it for yourself? So when it comes to all that, when I see these things, when I come across videos of these things, I can't judge you, and I'm trying to bring myself to a place where I can't, but I'll never lose that feeling that when I see people are selling God, and if you asked my personal opinion, and I think you should leave money out of God. I think you should leave money out of it. So if you don't have a lot of money and you're doing it because you need money, I still don't think that's a good thing. That's just me. If you're doing it for God, then so there, right? Who am I to judge? And that's where I'm going to leave it. When you start bringing money into the equation with God, it doesn't work very well, because you can start to go off this way, right? Instead of going this way. So I'm going to read this, and I'm not saying this is, well, let's just, okay, so I got to copy this and put it in the thing. It's a huge link. I keep hearing outside. I live like in apartment buildings. There's quite a few of them here. There it is. It sounds like an owl, you know, like it's making hoo, hoo, hoo. It's going like that. And I hear it quite a lot. I don't know if it's someone doing it. It happens so often. It must be an owl. There are snowy owls where I live. You know what happened the other day? There are 4 brush wolves that live where I walk, just right where I live here. Last night I heard them all howling. There's about 4 of them, and the biggest ones that I've seen are about 50 pounds. They're pretty big, man, for around here. And my dad told me the other day that he talked to a woman around here who said she had been walking her dog, and it came out and took the little dog and killed it. Sorry, I got to do this as I'm doing this. Because my stomach. I've watched, I guess you call them coyotes, but they're brush wolves, the bigger. They're just brush wolves because they're a mix. And I've watched one of them stalk, like there's a hill here, and then there's a coyote on this side, like literally going alongside people walking their small dogs. Okay, so in quite a few places in the Bible, there's quite a few of them, it says that we're going to be judged according to our works. It sounds the opposite of what we've been told, right? Least any man should boast. It's not about works, it's about grace, and it is. But is there something more after that verse that Paul was talking about? Is there something more to a born-again Christian? We'll find out. Like, I can personally think of a few places where it says it's quite clear. I'm going to read as much as I can. I don't know if I can read the whole thing, but I'll try. And please listen to the music at the end. I'm going to leave a link. And if I can remember, I'll tell you why. I just like leaving music and stuff sometimes. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and the books were opened. This must be Revelation. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged by what was written in the books according to what they had done. What they had done. That doesn't sound like you're saved by faith, does it? Right? Does that sound like it? It doesn't sound like that. So there's more. And the sea gave up the dead and who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them, and they were judged, each one of them according to what they had done. That's works, man. That's works. Actually, I'm going to give my opinion very quickly. I think it's a mixture of both that you're judged by. Faith and works. So like James said, faith without works is dead. He's going to look at what we have done. That is part of it, because it says so. God doesn't lie, and you know these verses. So then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name is not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. I don't think I have to read this whole thing. Okay, so then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for a husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He'll wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither should be mourning, crying, pain, for the former things have passed away. This is a good promise, isn't it? And it's coming soon. And he who was seated on the throne said, Behold, I'm making all things new. Also he said, Write down, for these words are trustworthy and true. It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give from the spring of the water of life without payment. You don't have to pay anything. Not even $1. The one who conquers will have this heritage, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. But as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire, sulfur, which is the second death. Revelations 20. Okay, so let's get into this. Let me take a sip and I'll get into this. Not many people want to talk about this, and you know what? Either do I, and that's why I am. I'm going to leave this link for you to read too. The necessary evidence. All the dead. So what's the name of this? This is a great article, by the way. It was done by a theologian, I believe. What does it mean to be judged according to your works? Revelation 20 and 21, but it gives a lot more. All the dead, whether powerful or poor. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know how many, like when you come across, when you read through articles and scriptures, they give you, quotations, and it gives you a choice to read. I don't know if I'll read through all of them. I'll let you do it. Excuse me. All the dead, whether powerful or poor, stand before God's throne to be assessed by him. Books are open, including the book of life. Comment on Revelations 3:5. The one who conquers will be clothed in white garments, and I will never blot out his name from the book of life. I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Also Isaiah 4:3. I don't know if I'll read all of these. Meaning that the time of judgment is at hand. The dead are judged by what is written in the book, according to their works. Sounds contrary, but it isn't. Contrary to what people have been teaching. Scripture repeatedly says that judgment will be according to works. So now I'll read these attachments. Psalm 62. And that to you, O Lord, belongs steadfast love, for you will render a man according to his work. Proverbs 24:12. If you say, Behold, we didn't know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul know it? And will he not repay man according to his work? Jeremiah 17. I, the Lord, search the heart and test the mind, to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. Great in counsel and mighty in deed, whose eyes are open to all the ways of the children of man, rewarding each one according to his ways and according to the fruit of his deeds. Matthew 16:27. For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, then he will repay each person according to what he has done. This isn't just Old Testament. He will render, Romans 2:6. He will render each one according to his works. So then each one of us will give an account of himself to God. So do I have to go any further, right? Revelation 2:23. And I will strike her children dead, and all the churches will know that I am the one who searches mind and heart, and I will give each one of you according to your works. Judgment according to its works is not merely an Old Testament theme, but it's also prominent in the New Testament. Those who are in the book of life have performed works warranting inclusion, while those who are punished are those who have pursued and practiced evil. Such works are not the basis for being found in the book of life, but constitute the necessary evidence of belonging to God. As Daniel teaches, those written in the book will be delivered on the last day, raised to everlasting life, but those who have done evil to shame and everlasting contempt. You know why I push forth to you? Why I push forth to you being born again, we must be born again. I believe that born again Christians want to do works, like as in, I'm not talking about going and being a Mother Teresa, okay? But I'll give you an example. If you go out and you see someone who is naked and in need right in front of you, are you going to do something about it? Those types of things are going to be recorded. You know, you went out and you saw in a parking lot when you're doing your groceries that this old woman was just like, she probably had severe degenerative disc disease. She's having trouble lifting her groceries. Could be an angel. Are you going to help her? Are you going to help her because you're right there? The Good Samaritan type story, like those. I'm not saying you have to go out and do things. I'm just keep listening to this. And the question is, what does a Christian look like? None of the powers, and so the people who are evil they're just not gonna make it. They're gonna read Revelation. None of the powers of the world, those that terrify human beings, can withstand the voice of God or his power. The sea, death, Hades, yield their dead. The sea here is not a neutral entity, but represents chaos and destruction, which explains its absence in the new creation. So I never thought of this. John reiterates that the dead are judged according to their works. Now let's go to Psalm 28:4. Give them according to their work and according to the evil of their deeds. According to the work of their hands, render them their due reward. John 5:28-29. Don't marvel at this, for an hour is coming when all who are in the tombs will hear his voice and come out. Those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of judgment. God's judgment is impartial and fair, not arbitrary or spiteful. It accords with what is right and true. No one will question its veracity. I could picture some people doing it though. What was I getting at with that part? Okay, that will come soon. 2 deaths. There is no doubt that the end of history has arrived, as death and Hades are cast into the lake of fire. Death is the last enemy, and Hades represents the realm of the death and final punishment. Everything opposing God is confined to the lake of fire. Defined as the second death, death is absent from the new creation, along with the pain and sorrow it brings, like the pain I'm in right now. Better believe I'm looking forward to this. The promise of Isaiah 25 8 has now become a reality. He will swallow up death forever. The first death is separation from God, sealed by physical death. But the second death is eternal separation from God, as his enemies are cast into a place of torment forever and ever. When you question hell and whether it is like eternal torment, the end of Revelation says it is. You can't avoid that. That's what it says. I don't want to believe that. At one point, I was talking to my pastor, and he's like, no, it's eternal destruction. But it's quite clear at the end of Revelation, it says that both people and the devil and his angels will, and the prophet will be tormented forever and ever. That's what it says. It says forever and ever. If one's name is not inscribed in the book of life, he's cast in the lake of fire. Matthew describes the place of punishment as a fiery furnace, a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth. Matthew also tells us the eternal fire is prepared for the devil and his angels. The punishment here is not temporary. John has made it very clear that the wicked suffer torment forever. They will, let's read that. They will never enjoy rest. And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships a beast in its image and receives a mark on his forehead or his head, I have to read Ezekiel to you too, to give you promise. I'm in a rush always. He will also drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. The smoke of their torment. Okay, that could just be their smoke. These worshippers of the beast in its image, and whoever receives the mark of its name. I forget, it's like right at the end it says that, but again, Matthew confirms this reading, for the righteous will enjoy eternal life while the wicked will suffer eternal punishment. The parallel in Matthew 24 shows that the punishment is permanent, just as the life enjoyed by the righteous lasts forever. Those who testified that they truly belong to God will be vindicated as the great white throne. Their names will be in the book of life. So I got to take breaks here. My voice. Give me a sec. I don't know how much more it says about works in this, but you get what I'm saying. That wasn't said for nothing, and it's all throughout the Bible. And I'm not trying to scare you or anything. Be a good person. Be a proper Christian. Be upright. It doesn't mean you have to go out and do all these different things. But for myself, I want to help people when I can. Or like this video, it's one of the only ways I can do it. It doesn't mean you have to. That's not what it means at all. Just be an upright person. I want to apologize so many times because I have to take breaks in my voice. The new creation promised in the Old Testament has finally become a reality. Isaiah promises a new creation in 2 texts. I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former things shall not be remembered or come into mind. As the new heavens and the new earth that I make shall remain before me, says the Lord, shall your offspring and your name remain. When John speaks of a new heaven and a new earth, he doesn't mean the old creation is annihilated. The parallel, so I can't read all the extra things in this. 2 Peter passage should be interpreted to mean the old creation is purified and renewed. The old creation is not blotted out of existence. The new creation is a renewal and transformation of the old. the first heaven and the earth pass away in the sense of being transformed and cleansed of all evil, just the way it should have been, right? And that's the epitome of what a believer should know about suffering. Why do we suffer? When people ask those questions, it's because of what happened in the garden. That's the answer. That is the answer. When John says the sea is no more, this is what I meant a while back, that I only just got. The sea is no more, because I heard something that there's going to be no more sea. He doesn't mean there's going to be no bodies of water in the new creation. The sea in Hebrew stood for chaos and evil, the source of hideous monsters. In Daniel 7, Isaiah 27, Revelation 11, for instance, the flood. Example, the sea destroyed all life on the land in the days of Noah. That the sea is no more means nothing destructive and deforming will be in the new creation. So I think that's it for works, but this just keeps going on, and I will continue to read it. The new creation that dawns is a city, a holy city of no unrighteousness or evil, consecrated and dedicated to God. It stands in stark contrast to Babylon, a detestable prostitute. That's what I see in America right now. The city of God is identified as the New Jerusalem, the earth actually, but you know what I mean, right? The Western world. It's not the earthly Jerusalem, but a transcendent one coming down from heaven from God. The earthly Jerusalem pointed forward to a heavenly Jerusalem far surpassing the one located in Israel. Other New Testament writers refer to Jerusalem in a similar way. Paul speaks of the Jerusalem above, calling it our mother. And Hebrews refer to a heavenly Jerusalem. A new and heavenly Jerusalem is anticipated in the Old Testament in the Second Temple literature of the day. This language is apocalyptic, and we should not see it as a literal description of the new creation. The heavenly city stands in contrast to the earthly city of Babylon, which defaced the world and dehumanized others. Okay, I'll let you read the rest of this, but I'm going to go to another chapter. I want to see if, I forget if there's a conclusion to this. I'll read this last thing. Those who conquer will inherit the new creation as God's sons and daughters. On the other hand, those who fail to conquer and instead give themselves over to evil will be in the lake burning with fire and sulfur. They will experience a second death. The first death is the initial separation from God, experienced by all those born into the world as sons and daughters of Adam. The second death, however, is eternal separation from God, and there is no redemptive salvation for those who experience the second death. They'll be tormented forever. So, unbelievers are excluded from the city for cowardice and unbelief. Cowardice expresses itself in conforming to and following the beast instead of risking one's life for allegiance to Jesus Christ. Unbelief or unfaithfulness means trusting in one's own resources instead of staking one's life on God. Murder and sexual immorality also separate one from God. That's why I keep pushing forward. Please don't kill people. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, don't do that either. But sexual immorality, when I say stop masturbating, I'm telling you, like, you'll be better for it. You will. You'll end up being more pure. Just build one day upon another and stop doing it. I believe that is sexual immorality. So you know what? I don't care how anyone thinks of me about that. I don't care. You know, I'm not looking for anyone to validate it. And what I'm doing is I'm building up my allowance in heaven. That's what people don't understand. That's what it is. When you talk about these works, another side of these works is when you do good things out of your goodness of your heart. Those things are remembered in heaven. We are fighting for something in a different dimension, heaven. And so we're doing things now that are going to help us in eternity. It's not as if these sins automatically exclude anyone. The point is that and yes, people fall, of course, from sinning. I know that, but I'm just trying to give you encouragement. By engaging in such sins instead of repenting and turning from them. So there's the difference. If you do it and you feel bad about it, repent of it and ask for strength. Sorcery or magic is regularly condemned. God hates that as a way of trying to manipulate circumstances to bring about one's desired ends. Instead of trusting in God, I'd rather trust in God. Idolatry, like sorcery, represents rejection of God's lordship. Liars do not trust God's providence in their lives and thus distort the truth to accomplish their own desires and schemes. You know those things like tarot readings and fortune teller? They can give you, maybe 1/10 of the truth, and you see, there's one thing, that must be true. Or if you listen to it the first time, it'll be half true. Doesn't end up that way. Okay. I got to take a break here, guys. I'm going to read this. I forget why. Ezekiel 9. Because it gives promise, I remember here. Ezekiel 9. I'll read this whole thing. The wicked are slain. Give me another little break here. I'm going to take 20 seconds. I'm going to come back and read this. Anyone who hasn't seen my videos before, I have a lot of pain in my abdomen. I have to move, and I also have a throat disorder. So it's almost like dystonia. So I gotta take breaks. There's promise in this. Ezekiel 9, the wicked are slain. Then he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, let those who have charge over the city draw near, each with a deadly weapon in his hand. And suddenly 6 men came from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north. I think this is Ezekiel's vision. Each with his battle axe in his hand. One man among them was clothed with linen and had a writer's inkhorn at his side. They went in and stood beside the bronze altar. Now the glory of the Lord of Israel had gone up from the cherub. This is when it was disappearing, when he was leaving, where it had been, to the threshold of the temple, and he called to the man clothed with linen, who had the writer's inkhorn at his side, and the Lord said to him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it. To the others he said, in my hearing, go after him through the city and kill. Don't let your eye spare, nor have any pity, utterly slay old and young men, maidens, little children, and women. But don't come near anyone who is the mark, who has the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. So they began with the elders who were before the temple. He said to them, defile the temple and fill the courts with the slain. Go out. And they went out and killed in the city. So it was that while they were killing them, I was left alone, and I fell on my face and cried out, Lord God, will you destroy the remnant of Israel in pouring out your fury on Jerusalem? Then he said to me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceedingly great, and the land is full of bloodshed, and the city full of perversity. Does it sound familiar? For they say, the Lord has forsaken the land, and the Lord doesn't see. And as for me also, my eye will neither spare nor have pity, but I will recompense their deeds on their own head, their deeds. Just then the man clothed with linen, who had the inkhorn at his side, reported back and said, I have done as you commanded me. That's when people are like, ethnic cleansing. Here's the reality. What if you had, and I'm not, you're getting my point. What if you had 20 dogs? One got rabies and spread it to all the rest. What are you going to do? You have to kill them. How else are you going to do it? So I don't know. Obviously that was Babylon who came in. It was Nebuchadnezzar who they're talking about, and they destroyed, Jerusalem and Judah. But that's what happens when people become so wicked that there's no other way. And I see that happening right now. And so I read this to you in hope that if you're with Jesus Christ, if you believe in him, then you're going to receive one of those marks, and those things will not come near you. So important, man. This is coming. This is coming soon. This is coming soon. And you read Revelations, and there's like a parallel to this chapter, Ezekiel 9. Short chapter, go and read it. Thanks for watching today. Again, I'll just reiterate what I said. Only you know your heart when you're asking, when you're making money with God in the same. No, I can't judge your heart, and but I just wanted to be strict enough to say, hey, listen, check yourself. Yeah, and then with the works, my belief, my personal belief is it's both faith and that's a tough question. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll leave it with you. I don't believe I have to go out and do a work to be saved, okay? Because it says we are saved by faith alone. But the question is, what does a real Christian look like, okay? That's where it comes to. Thanks for watching. God bless everybody.